Hey there! Welcome to Beyond Words, where we dive into the fascinating ways language shapes who we are. I'm Jorge del Mercado, and today we're talking about something that's probably part of your everyday life without you even realizing it: code mixing. You know when you switch back and forth between two languages in one conversation? It's not just random. There's actually a lot of meaning and identity packed into those switches. Let's start with the basics. What is code mixing and why do people do it? After that, I'll walk you through some real life examples from Spanglish to Hinglish, which is the mix of Hindi and English, and what these mixed languages tell us about cultural identity. So, if you're ready to dive into the language of belonging, let's get started. Alright, so code mixing. What does it mean? Basically, it's when someone blends elements from two or more languages in a single conversation or sentence. This happens a lot in bilingual or multilingual communities. Imagine you are chatting with friends, and mid sentence you switch from English to Spanish, or maybe from Hindi to English. You are code mixing. What's interesting is that code mixing is not random. In sociolinguistics, we find that these switches often serve a purpose. Sometimes it's because a particular language has used the right word or expression for what you want to say, and other times it's about expressing your cultural identity. Think of code mixing as a linguistic toolkit. People pick and choose words from different languages to convey exactly what they feel or to connect with the people around them. To see this in action, let's dive into real world examples. Starting with the US, there's Spanglish. This is super common in cities like Los Angeles and Miami, where there are large Latino communities. People might say something like, I'll be back, voy a parquear el carro, which means, I'll be back, I'm going to park the car. Notice how the English word park has been turned into the Spanglish parquear instead of the standard Spanish estacionar. This mix is not about being bad at one language or the other. It's a creative blend that lets people tap into their bilingual identity. Another example is Hinglish, which you'll hear a lot in urban India. Let's say someone says, I don't know what's going on. Yar muhe kuh samah nahia raha. Translated, this means, I don't know what's going on. Dude, I'm not understanding anything. The word yar is a Hindi term of endearment like saying friend or dude. This blend is not just about convenience, it's about connecting with people who share a similar cultural background. Hinglish lets people stay rooted in their heritage while also tapping into English, which is big in business and pop culture in India. So, why does code mixing matter? Well, in sociolinguistics, language is more than a communication tool. It's a way to show who we are. Code mixing, in particular, is a powerful social marker. When someone uses both languages in a conversation, it signals belonging to multiple cultural worlds. You're not expressing words, you're expressing identity. Let's go back to Spanglish. For many Latino individuals in the US, Spanglish is a way to say I'm both American and Latino. Switching between languages lets people assert their dual identity in a way that feels authentic. Similarly, in India, Hinglish helps young people show that they are connected to global influences while proudly embracing Indian culture. Now, let's talk about where we're seeing code mixing explode, which is online. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, now X, are filled with code mixed content. You'll see captions, comments, and hashtags mixing languages all the time. And in digital spaces, code mixing takes on new forms. Emojis and hashtags get thrown into the mix, creating a rich, layered communication style. For instance, in Filipino Taglish, Someone might post a photo with a caption like, Nakshi Kamini Vesti last night, hashtag relax, hashtag BFFs, which translates to my bestie and I chilled last night. Taglish is trendy and it signals something specific to fellow speakers. It shows that this person is part of a digital Filipino community that blends cultures effortlessly. At this point, you might be wondering, is code mixing the same as code switching? Or what about translanguaging? A newer term you might have heard. And these are real questions, so here's the quick breakdown. Code mixing is our main focus today, and it's about blending elements from two languages within the same conversation or sentence. Code switching, on the other hand, involves switching between languages based on context, but usually from one sentence to the next, rather than within a single sentence. It's like using English with coworkers and switching to Spanish when you're with your family. Translanguaging is a bit more flexible. It is the idea that bilingual people don't see their languages as separate but as part of a single linguistic repertoire they draw from freely. Each of these has its own function, but all of them highlight the beauty of multilingualism and how people can creatively use language to fit their needs and identities. Alright, let's dive back into a few more examples. In the Philippines, Taglish is popular. People will mix Tagalog and English in ways that seem almost poetic. For example, let's go sa mall para mag-shopping, meaning let's go to the mall to shop. This blend is rooted in the Philippines' colonial history and modern influences from English-speaking media. Using Taglish says, I'm Filipino, but I'm also global. Or take Arabic-English mixing in places like Dubai, where you might hear phrases like Yala, let's go to the souk. The Arabic word Yala means let's go, while souk is Arabic for market. The phrase translates to come on, let's go to the market. This mix reflects Dubai's international vibe, where young people want to stay connected to their heritage while embracing global culture. So, what does all this code mixing tell us? In short, it shows that language is deeply personal and constantly evolving. Code mixing is not just random, it's a deliberate choice people make to express who they are and connect with the people around them. It's a way of saying, I belong to more than one culture and I'm proud of it. From Spanglish in the US to Hinglish in India, each example of code mixing tells a story of identity, history, and community. And as digital media continues to grow, we are only going to see more of this creative mixing. Code switching shows us that language is not just about words, it's about belonging. Thanks for tuning into the Beyond Words. I hope this episode inspired you to think about the languages you hear and maybe the ones you speak a little differently. Until the next time, keep celebrating the beautiful ways we communicate.